Hey everyone, today I want to talk about how to apply jazz vocabulary that you are learning from solos into your own improvisation. Jazz vocabulary are identifiable melodic phrases that have been passed down and played by many different jazz musicians. Having a large repertoire of jazz vocabulary is a great way to branch away from playing scales and arpeggios in your improvisation to really participating in the jazz language. All the tips and methods I share with you today comes from my brand new jazz vocabulary course with jazz lesson videos. In it, I show you how to extract vocabulary from various masterpieces throughout jazz history and dozens of tips to actually apply them and get them in your own improvisation. I also share with you a concrete method to practice these and go over several drilling exercises to play along with me to internalize the vocabulary deeply. All this material comes with a PDF workbook for all instrument types. So if you're interested in downloading the full course, you can find the link in the description below and use code VOCAB25 for $25 off. Alright, so the first tip in applying jazz vocabulary is to take just one line at a time and practice it in all cycles. Fourths, whole steps, minor thirds, major thirds, and half steps. The goal of this is that you want to make sure this line is absolutely automatic in all 12 keys. If you're having trouble with this, consider this tip from my jazz vocabulary course. Okay, so that line, we're going to consider that an E flat dominant 7 line. Now, what we want to do is look at this cycle sheet and practice that line in tempo in every single key here. Now, if you can't do this yet, what is the best way to actually be able to do this? The answer is not to learn it in another key and then play it over and over and over and over and over again. Okay, and then move on to the next key, find another key. It's actually to break it down in small chunks and take that chunk in all of these keys through the cycle sheet. So for example, in that particular line, how about you just start off with the first 2 notes? When thinking of your chord as a dominant 7 chord, you just play the root and then the flat 7. So let's go ahead and take that 2-note sail through the cycle sheet together. You're going to take all these notes on the sheet while looking at it and imagine them all as dominant 7 chords, right? So you have a C dominant 7 chord, then you have an F dominant 7 chord, then you have a B flat dominant 7 chord, etc. On each of these, you're going to play its root and then the flat 7. So let's do this exercise together. We're going to go from the very top of the page and like a nice gym workout in the gym, you're going to make it all the way to the very end. We're going to do it at 120 beats per minute with the metronome on beats 2 and 4. And the rhythm that we'll do will be like this. 1, 2, ready, go. Da, 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 da. Let's do it. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Whole steps. Great, so once you've got your line feeling super automatic in all 12 keys, go ahead and take that line and play it in a tune in every single chord that that line can fit. Cherokee is a great playground for this, and here's an example from my jazz vocabulary course where I encourage you to try it with me. So after this is feeling pretty strong, take your line and consider other possible substitutions with it. For example, I just showed you that the honeysuckle rose lick works over dominant 7 chords. Well, what if you thought of any 2 minor 7 chord as instead a 5 dominant 7 chord? And then you thought of any 5 dominant 7 chord as instead a tritone dominant 7 chord. Here's an example from the jazz vocabulary course where I go over this possibility. So for example, in the third bar, instead of thinking F minor 7, go ahead and imply a B flat dominant 7, and you want to think that shape. And then for the actual B flat 7, go ahead and play the tritone sub. So take your root B flat and move it up a tritone, which is going to be an E. Now do the E honeysuckle rose lick there. Now check out how that sounds. Right? So go ahead and try this. Anytime you have a 2 minor 7 chord, switch it to its functioning 5-7 chord and play it diatonic. And anytime you have a 5 dominant 7 chord, go ahead and switch it to the tritone sub instead. If you're having trouble where to quickly find that tritone substitution, well, guess what? You can do the cycle sheet exercise. You can just break it down. You can just think of every single note on that sheet as a dominant 7 chord, and just on the downbeats every 4 measures, find the tritone sub. As you get more and more fluent with that and you make it all the way down the sheet, I bet you're going to be much more fluent at it and you won't have nearly as much of a problem with that. Anyway, let's hear the honeysuckle rose with these tritone subs. Awesome. There are many other substitutions and possible applications that I go through the full course. And there are also several other improvisation techniques that you can do with any piece of vocabulary that you're working on. Here is one of several that I go over. So another exercise that you can do to get these lines into your playing is to improvise the second half of the phrase. I'll show you what I mean by that. Here is a phrase from the Sonny Stitt solo that we recovered earlier over his solo Sunny Side of the Street in measure 15. So we're just going to take the second half and improvise our own line and try to resolve ourselves. Let's improvise many ways to do that now. 1, 2, 1, 2, Cool. There are an infinite amount of results that are possible with this exercise. Let's try it with a bird phrase. This one comes from that body and soul solo that we went over. Let's try this exercise over this line where we take away the second half and improvise our own resolution. 1, 2, 1, 2. Awesome. So that's taking the last half of your line and improvising with something else of your own. All right, everyone, that concludes today's video. I really hope this video helped. And again, if you want over an hour's worth of more tips just like this, feel free to check out my brand new jazz vocabulary course, which you can find in the description below. And don't forget, you can use the code VOCAB25 for $25 off. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, please consider leaving a like and subscribe below, as it really helps this channel grow. I'll see you all next time.